what if you could instantly pinpoint the very few things that actually drive your results? We're talking about finding that, that hidden key,
Hmm.
the one that unlocks massive productivity, massive happiness, while letting you basically throw out 80% of the effort, the time, and honestly, the worry that you're currently pouring into everything. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Success Happiness. We're doing a special book talk today. And we're diving into a concept well, it's incredibly powerful. It really redefines what success even looks like. It's Richard Koch's famous work, The 80-20 Principle, The Secret of Achieving More with Less.
Yeah, and this isn't just some abstract theory, right? It's a strategy proven by the author himself. Koch, he's known for being this hugely successful entrepreneur. Actually, he calls himself a lazy entrepreneur, if you can believe that.
Lazy entrepreneur. I like the
Yeah.
sound of that already.
Huh, yeah. Well, he co-founded LEK Consulting, a major strategy firm, and he turned around big names like Fairfax and Plymouth Gin using these ideas. And the proof is kind of in the pudding. The book's reach is massive, over 700,000 copies sold, translated into, 24 languages?
Wow. Okay, so that right there tells you this isn't just some niche business idea. It works across cultures, across industries. So our mission today really is to show you that this core principle, which was first spotted way back, late 19th century, by an Italian economist, Vilfredo Pareto,
Right.
it's way more than just a business tool. It's like a universal pattern, almost like a mystical law that can totally transform how you approach your career, your money.
And maybe most importantly, your actual quality of life.
Exactly. We are going to break down how you can start using this radical approach, like right now.
Okay, yeah, let's unpack it. Starting with the core definition, the absolute basics. The 80-20 principle basically states there's this fundamental, systematic, and actually predictable imbalance between inputs and outputs.
Imbalance. Okay.
Yeah. Put simply, roughly 20% of your inputs or your causes or your efforts, they typically lead to about 80% of the results, the outputs or the rewards.
And it's not just a general rule of thumb, is it? Like most things aren't equal. It's more specific.
It is surprisingly specific. It's this reliably lopsided relationship you find, well, pretty much everywhere you look.
And you mentioned Pareto. For a bit of history,
Mm-hmm.
he found this studying wealth.
That's right. Back in 1897, he was looking at land ownership and wealth in Italy and found that, yeah, about 80% of the wealth and land was controlled by just 20% of the population.
Amazing. So it started with economics.
It did.
Mhm.
But Koch's real genius, I think, was taking that economic observation and extending it, seeing it as a lens for, well, enhancing your whole life. And when you really look at the 80-20 principle, you see it has this kind of dual nature, two sides to it.
Okay, two sides. What are they?
Well, first, you've got the hard side. That's the efficiency piece,
Mm-hmm.
mostly used in business.
Right, like increasing productivity, cutting waste, maximizing profit, cold, hard numbers.
Exactly. It's about making things run better, making more money.
But then there's the other side.
Yes, and this is the soft side, which I think is the real game changer for, personal transformation. This is using the principle to maximize the quality, the depth of your entire life.
Ah, okay. So the efficiency part, the hard side, it sort of clears the way.
Precisely. It helps you achieve more, but with less effort, less time wasted. And then you can deliberately shift that freed up time and energy onto the few things that really, truly matter.
Like in your relationships or job satisfaction or just
Yeah.
personal joy.
It's like the yin and yang. Efficiency clears the deck, so meaning and happiness can actually take center stage.
I like that. Okay, so let's apply that efficiency lens first. Let's talk professional success. Because the default way most companies are managed, and probably how most of us manage our own careers, it's often about trying to address everything equally, right? Give everything attention.
Oh, absolutely. Spreadsheets full of tasks, endless meetings.
Yeah. But 80-20 thinking just flips that completely. It demands the radical opposite.
It really does. The core method Koch talks about is 80-20 analysis.
Mhm.
This means you actually have to quantitatively prove the relationship between effort and reward in your specific situation, your company, your job.
So data, not just guessing.
Right. You need to identify the vital few inputs that are driving the vast majority of your success.
Mhm.
And the most consistent finding, the one that often shocks managers, or maybe they even resist it,
Yeah.
is that usually 80% of the profits come from fewer than 20% of the customers or products
Yeah.
or market segments.
Okay, that's huge. And here's where it gets tough for you, the listener, if you're ambitious, if you're a leader or wannabe. Companies rarely ask that really hard question. Why should we keep investing time, resources, overhead in the 80% of products or clients that only bring in 20% of the profit.
The conventional wisdom is, oh, well, it covers some overhead, or we need a full product line.
Right. But Koch's wisdom says no. You have to be willing to take radical action. You might need to actually cut that unprofitable 80%.
And that reluctance, that unwillingness to cut,
Mhm.
often stems from what Koch calls the paradox of complexity. See, keeping all those low-value activities, those 80% things, they often create disproportionately huge costs.
How so?
Think about it. Administration, management time, inventory, customer support for low-profit clients, it all adds up. It creates drag. Cutting this complexity is often the fastest path to much higher profits, and crucially, way less stress for everyone involved.
You mentioned another statistic Koch uses, which sounds even more extreme of the 505 principle. What's that about?
Yes, that was a real eye-opener. It basically suggests that typically 50%, half of a company's customers or products or maybe suppliers will add less than 5% to the actual profits.
Half contribute less than 5%. That's staggering.
It is. Think about what that means practically. Half your client list might be generating almost no real profit, which means maybe half your admin time, your support calls, your management headaches are tied up with things that barely move the needle. Or worse, might actually be losing you money if you factor in all the hidden costs.
That complexity is just eating up energy.
Exactly. It creates bureaucracy, friction. The 80-20 goal is just to eliminate that dead weight. Be ruthless about it.
Okay, so if we take this idea of radical focus and apply it to personal wealth, Cook argues that wealth from investing can potentially blow away wealth from just working, right?
He does. He makes a strong case for it. And surprise, surprise, the 80-20 principle applies here too. He states that typically 80% of the increase in value in a long-term investment portfolio comes from fewer than 20% of the investments you hold.
So a few big winners drive most of the growth.
Pretty much. And this leaves him to perhaps his most controversial piece of financial advice. It goes against the grain.
Okay, I'm listening.
Well, conventional wisdom, what everyone tells you is diversification. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Spread the risk. Noah's Ark investing, he calls it.
Sounds sensible. Standard advice.
It does. But Koch's 80-20 wisdom says basically the opposite.
Wait, really? Like, concentrate your bets.
Yes, but, and this is a huge, but it demands extreme diligence. His advice is, choose a basket very carefully, do your homework intensely, then load all your eggs into that one basket, and then watch that basket like a hawk.
Wow. That sounds risky. Doesn't that fly in the face of managing risk?
It feels like it, right? But the key is the first part. Choose a basket carefully. It's not gambling. It requires rigorous analysis to identify those very few potential superstar investments where you have a genuine high-leverage advantage or insight. Then, instead of diluting your capital and attention across lots of average prospects, you concentrate where you have the highest conviction. It's about making a few great decisions, not lots of okay ones.
Okay, I see. High conviction, high focus. It's consistent with the principle. And that kind of focused, high-leverage thinking, that's exactly the mindset Koch says we should bring to our careers, too. Which brings us to this thing called the von Manstein matrix. Sounds intimidating.
Yeah, it does sound a bit intense. It actually originated in the German military, believe it or not. It's basically a way of categorizing officers based on two traits: intelligence and diligence, or laziness. So 4 types.
Okay, 4 types based on smarts and work ethic.
Exactly. You have 1, intelligent and diligent, 2, intelligent and lazy, 3, stupid and diligent, and 4, stupid and lazy.
Right. And Koch uses this.
How? He borrows it to argue for what he calls productive laziness. Because the surprising conclusion from the original Matrix, and the one Koch champions, is that the intelligent and lazy are actually best suited for the highest command positions.
Wait, the intelligent and lazy, not the intelligent and diligent. Why?
Because the intelligent and diligent person, the hard worker, they tend to get bogged down in the details. They try to solve every problem, make everything perfect. They're doing the 80% of low-value work. But the intelligent and lazy person, they actively avoid unnecessary work. They look for the shortcuts, the path of least resistance. And crucially, their intelligence means they can correctly identify the few high-leverage actions, the vital 20% that will achieve 80% of the goal. Then they focus solely on those, and delegate or simply ignore the rest.
So it's not about being truly lazy, like doing nothing. It's about being strategically lazy, productive laziness.
Exactly. You see this pattern in some highly successful figures. Think about someone like, say, Ronald Reagan. Huge political impact, but not known for grinding through policy details 24/7. He used his core strengths instinctively in high-impact ways.
Or Warren Buffett, maybe. His wealth comes from a few key long-term insights and decisions, not constant trading.
Precisely. Their success stems from deliberate, high-leverage focus, not just generalized, exhausting effort on everything.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So let's shift this to our personal lives now, and the resource that feels the most scarce for everyone.
Ah, time. Yes. The traditional approach is always time management, isn't it? Trying to cram more in, faster, more efficient, juggling everything on the to-do list.
Like trying to fit a quart into a pint pot, as the saying goes.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
But if the 80-20 principle is true,
Then most of what's on that to-do list is probably low-value stuff anyway, the 80%.
precisely. Time management techniques often assume you already know what a good use of time is. Koch argues the goal isn't really management. It needs to be a time revolution, a complete transformation of how you spend your time.
A revolution? How?
By being absolutely ruthless and identifying and cutting out the 80% of activities that yield minimal results or minimal happiness. Stop doing them.
Wow. Okay, that sets a really ambitious target for you, the listener. Think about this. If you currently spend, say, 20% of your work time on genuinely high-value results-driving activities, if you could just shift that, double it, to spending 40% of your time on those things, Crook suggests your overall productivity, your effectiveness, could jump by 60% to 80%, almost overnight.
It's a massive leap.
Yeah.
And it comes from subtraction, primarily, not addition. Taking away the fluff.
Taking away the 80%.
Yeah. And this kind of radical shift is maybe most needed when we talk about personal fulfillment, about happiness. Because if you really analyze your life, your energy, your moments of joy, guess what? 80% of your happiness probably comes from just 20% of your activities or 20% of the time you spend.
That's a profound thought. Identifying that 20% becomes critical. And Koch makes a key point here. Enjoyment isn't just a nice side effect. It's actually crucial for peak performance.
Absolutely. He argues that enjoyment leads directly to superior output. You naturally perform better, you're more creative, more efficient, when you're engaged in something you genuinely love doing.
Okay, so how do we translate this into action? What are some actionable happiness habits people can start now?
Okay, first one. You have to consciously give up guilt. Guilt about not doing enough or not doing what you should be doing, and instead, proactively choose to do more of the things you actually enjoy most. This needs real self-awareness, though, distinguishing what genuinely brings you joy from what you just think should.
That's hard. Okay, give up guilt. What else?
Second big one. Free yourself from obligations imposed by others as much as possible. Think about it, that low-value 80% of your time, the stuff yielding only 20% of results or happiness. So often it's stuff you're doing because someone else asked you to, or because of some societal expectation.
Right, the endless meetings, the networking events you hate, the projects you take on out of obligation.
Exactly. You need to learn to say no more often, strategically.
Okay. Guilt-free enjoyment, fewer obligations. What's the third habit?
Be unconventional, maybe even a little eccentric in how you use your time. Stop doing things just because they're expected, or because that's how everyone else does it.
Like what? Give me an example.
Well, if you discover that your absolute highest leverage activity is, say, reading deeply for 3 hours straight with zero interruptions, or maybe blocking out the first 2 hours of every workday for focused, complex thinking before checking email, then you need to defend that time fiercely, even if colleagues think it's weird. Focus on what works for your 80-20, not what looks normal.
Be unconventional. I like that. Focus on effectiveness, not just appearances. And this focus on quality over quantity, it extends right into our relationships too, doesn't it?
Oh, fundamentally. The value we get from relationships, the emotional support, the joy, it's also heavily skewed. You likely get 80% of your real emotional value, your connection, from maybe only 20% of the people you know, your closest friends, key family members.
That's potentially a bit uncomfortable to think about, but probably true.
It can be. Some anthropologists suggest we only have the capacity for a handful of truly deep, close, meaningful relationships anyway. So if you spread your limited emotional energy too thinly, trying to maintain dozens and dozens of shallow connections...
You dilute the quality everywhere.
Exactly. The 80-20 principle here says, identify that vital 20% of relationships, the ones that truly nourish you, and consciously invest your energy in deepening those. Quality over sheer quantity.
Okay. Powerful stuff across the board. So as we wrap up this book talk, let's try to synthesize the absolute core of 80-20 thinking. It really feels like a philosophy, doesn't it? A way of seeing the world.
It is. It demands that you consistently look beneath the surface of things, beneath the noise and the busyness. You have to spot the few really important factors that are driving results and then have the courage to ruthlessly ignore or minimize the vast majority of things that are unimportant.
Recognizing that you are just naturally hugely more productive and effective at some things than at others. And the key isn't just more effort, more grind. It's finding the right thing to focus that effort on.
Yeah. And if you truly embrace this, you start to realize that sheer effort isn't the goal. It's not even a good metric for success. Sometimes intentional inaction, choosing to actively stop doing the low-value 80%, is the most productive move you can possibly make.
That really reframes productivity. Okay, so this leaves you, the listener, with a pretty profound choice, doesn't it?
It does, Koch puts it starkly. Those who ignore the 80-20 principle are pretty much doomed to average returns and probably a lot of exhaustion trying to get there.
Right. But those who choose to use it,
Yeah.
they have a different challenge.
Yes, they have to bear the burden, as Koch calls it, of potentially exceptional achievement. But it also means bearing the often difficult task of constantly saying no to complexity, saying no to low-value activities, saying no to distractions.
It requires discipline. Okay, so here's your challenge for today, pulling directly from Coast Logic. Maybe before you even try to perfectly identify your magical 20%, try this first. Identify the single biggest, most time-consuming, maybe most complex activity you currently hate doing, the one that drains you. And then ask yourself honestly, what percentage of my actual happiness or my actual key results does this thing truly contribute?
Mm-hmm. Be honest.
And if the answer is very little, maybe start your 80-20 journey right there. Start by figuring out how to ruthlessly cut that out first. Eliminate some of the 80%. Thank you so much for joining us for this special Success Happiness Book Talk. Subscribe to Success Happiness now. We'll have more discussions, more talks like this, all designed to help you achieve more with less.